Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new expressions you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, speak of the devil. This idiom is really fun to use. It means when you're talking about someone, and then suddenly that person appears or shows up. It's not a bad thing at all, even though it has the word devil in it. We say this when we're surprised to see someone we were just talking about. This expression comes from an old belief that if you talked about the devil, he might actually show up. But don't worry, we use it in a completely friendly way now. It's actually a really common and casual way to greet someone when they arrive at just the right moment. Let me tell you about what happened to me last week. I was at a coffee shop with my friend Sarah, and we were talking about our old college roommate, Emma. We hadn't seen her in months, and we were wondering how she was doing. Right in the middle of our conversation, guess who walked through the door? Emma. I immediately said, "Speak of the devil," and she laughed because she knew exactly what I meant. For example, imagine you're at work, talking to your coworker about your boss, and suddenly your boss walks into the room. You might say, "Oh, speak of the devil, we were just talking about the meeting tomorrow." Here's another one. You're texting your friend about planning a birthday party for another friend, and that friend calls you right at that moment. You could answer the phone and say, "Speak of the devil. We were just talking about you." People often say this when they're genuinely happy to see someone. Like if you're discussing your favorite teacher from high school with a friend, and you run into that teacher at the grocery store, you'd say, "Speak of the devil. How are you doing?" Have you ever had a moment like this where someone showed up right when you were talking about them? Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this kind of coincidence. Number 2, I'm gonna break the record. This phrase means you're going to do something better than anyone has done it before, or you're going to beat the best result that exists. When someone says they're gonna break the record, they're feeling confident and excited about achieving something really impressive. This expression comes from sports and competitions where people keep track of the best performances ever, like the fastest time or the highest score. These are called records. When someone breaks a record, they do better than the previous best result. My little brother is really into video games, and last month he was playing this racing game for hours every day. He kept getting closer and closer to the best time on this really difficult track. One evening, he was so focused and determined, and he said to me, "I'm gonna break the record tonight." And you know what? He actually did it. He was so excited when he finally beat the previous best time by just 2 seconds. For example, if you're trying to finish your homework faster than you ever have before, you might say, "I finished all my math problems in 20 minutes yesterday, but tonight I'm gonna break the record and do it in 15. You might hear something like, I ran 3 miles in 30 minutes last week, but today I'm feeling really strong. I'm gonna break the record and run it in under 25 minutes. Let's take this one. Your friend loves baking cookies, and last time she made 4 dozen in one day. She might say, tomorrow is the school bake sale, and I'm gonna break the record. I'm planning to make 6 dozen cookies. This phrase shows confidence and determination. Do you have something you're trying to get better at? Maybe you could use this expression when you're feeling ready to achieve your best result yet. Number 3, I'm in a jam. This phrase means you're in a difficult situation or you have a problem that's hard to solve. When someone says, I'm in a jam, they need help or they're feeling stuck and don't know what to do. This expression is interesting because it comes from the idea of being stuck, like fruit stuck in jam or jelly. When you're in a jam, you feel like you can't move forward easily, just like if you were actually stuck in something thick and sticky. I remember when my friend Lisa called me last month, and she sounded really worried. She had promised to drive her sister to the airport early in the morning, but the night before her car wouldn't start. She called me and said, I'm really in a jam. My car is broken, my sister's flight is at 6 in the morning, and I don't know how to get her there. Luckily, I was able to help by lending her my car, but she was definitely in a tough situation. For example, imagine you have a big presentation at school tomorrow, but you accidentally left all your notes at your friend's house, and your friend is out of town. You might say, I'm in a jam. I need those notes for my presentation, but I can't get them until tomorrow afternoon. Here's another one. You promised to bring dessert to a family dinner tonight, but you just realized all the stores are closed and you don't have ingredients at home. You could say, I'm in a jam. I promised to bring cake, but I have no way to make one or buy one. People often say this when they need to ask for help. Like if you're supposed to work tomorrow but you just got really sick, you might call your boss and say, I'm in a jam. I'm too sick to come to work, but I know we have that important meeting. Have you ever been in a jam? What kind of difficult situations do you think this phrase would be perfect for? Let me know in the comments. Number 4. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. This phrase means if you don't try something or take a risk, you won't get any reward or achieve anything good. It's about encouraging people to be brave and try new things, even when they're not sure what will happen. This expression is quite old and wise. It teaches us that in order to gain something valuable, we usually have to risk something or put ourselves out there. The word venture means to try something that might be risky or uncertain. I have a perfect story about this from my own life. 2 years ago, I was really shy about speaking English with native speakers because I was afraid of making mistakes. But I really wanted to improve, so I decided to join a conversation club at the local library. I was so nervous the first day, but I remembered this phrase, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I told myself that if I didn't try, I would never get better. And you know what happened? I made so many friends and my English improved so much faster than I expected. For example, let's say you want to ask your boss for a promotion, but you're scared they might say no. Your friend might encourage you by saying, you should ask. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The worst they can say is not yet, but they might say yes. You might hear something like this. Your friend wants to try out for the school play but is worried about not getting a part. You could say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't audition, you definitely won't get a role, but if you try, you might get the perfect part for you. Imagine this scenario. You're thinking about starting your own small business, like selling handmade jewelry, but you're worried it might not work. A supportive friend might say, "Nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't try, you'll never know if it could have been successful." This phrase is really encouraging when someone is feeling scared or uncertain. Do you think you could use this expression to motivate yourself or encourage a friend? What's something you've been wanting to try but haven't yet? Number 5. That's too obvious. This phrase means something is so clear and easy to understand that it doesn't need to be explained or pointed out. When someone says, "That's too obvious," they're saying the answer or solution is so simple that everyone can see it right away. We use this expression when we think something is so clear that it's almost silly to mention it. Sometimes people say it in a slightly sarcastic way, but it can also just mean that something is very straightforward and doesn't need explanation. Last week, I was helping my teenage cousin with her homework, and she was working on a math problem. She was making it really complicated, trying all these difficult methods. I looked at the problem and realized there was a much simpler way to solve it. When I showed her the easy method, she looked at the answer and said, "Oh wow, that's too obvious. I can't believe I didn't see that before." She had been overthinking something that was actually quite simple. For example, if someone asks, "Why do you think it's raining?" While you're both getting completely soaked and you can see dark clouds everywhere, you might laugh and say, "That's too obvious. Look at those huge storm clouds." Here's another one. Imagine your friend asks, "Do you think Sarah likes pizza?" Right after Sarah just ordered 3 slices of pizza and said, "I love pizza so much." You might respond, "That's too obvious. She just told us she loves it." Let's take this one. You're watching a mystery movie with friends and one friend asks, "Do you think the butler is the criminal?" When the butler has been acting suspiciously the whole time and just dropped a key piece of evidence. You could say, "That's too obvious. It's definitely the butler." Sometimes we use this phrase when we're being a little playful or teasing. Have you ever noticed something that was so clear that everyone else should have seen it too? Which situations do you think this phrase would fit perfectly? Number 6. Are you on social media? This question is asking if someone uses social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, or other apps where people share photos, videos, and messages with friends or the public. This question has become super common in the last 10 years because social media is now a huge part of how people stay connected and share their lives. When someone asks this, they usually want to connect with you online, or they're curious about your online presence. Just yesterday, I met a really nice woman at the coffee shop. We started talking about photography because she noticed I was editing photos on my laptop. We had such a great conversation about different camera techniques and our favorite places to take pictures. Before she left, she asked, "Are you on social media? I'd love to see more of your photography work." I told her my Instagram handle, and now we're following each other and sharing photography tips. For example, when you meet someone new at work or school and you want to stay in touch, you might ask, "Are you on social media? I'd love to connect with you on Instagram or Facebook." You might hear something like this at a party. "Are you on social media? I want to tag you in the photos from tonight so you can see them later." People often say this when they're networking or making new friends. Like if you meet someone who shares your hobby, you might ask, "Are you on social media? I follow a lot of great accounts about cooking, and I'd love to share some with you." This question is so normal now that most people expect to exchange social media information when they meet someone new. Are you active on social media? Which platforms do you use the most? Let me know in the comments. Number 7. I got a bruise. This sentence means you have a dark mark on your skin that happened because you hit something hard or something hit you. A bruise is usually purple, blue, or black, and it can be a little sore when you touch it. We get bruises all the time in everyday life, usually by accident. This sentence is very simple and direct, and people use it to explain why they might be moving carefully or why there's a dark spot on their arm or leg. This actually happened to me just a few days ago. I was rushing to catch the bus in the morning, and I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking. I walked straight into the corner of a table in the hallway of my apartment building. It hurt so much. Later that day, my friend noticed I was holding my hip in a funny way, and I said, "I got a bruise this morning. I walked right into a table like a clumsy person." She laughed and said she does stuff like that all the time too. For example, if you're playing basketball and someone accidentally bumps into you really hard, you might say later, "I got a bruise on my arm from that game. That guy really knocked into me." Here's another one. Your friend notices you're walking a little differently and asks if you're okay. You might explain, "I got a bruise on my leg yesterday when I fell off my bike. It's not serious, but it's still a little sore." You might hear something like this. "I got a bruise on my knee from moving furniture yesterday. Those boxes were heavier than I thought, and I accidentally hit the coffee table." This is such a common, everyday sentence that everyone uses when they want to explain a small injury. Have you gotten any bruises lately from being clumsy or from sports? Do you bruise easily, or does it take a lot to give you a bruise? Number 8. I ache all over. This sentence means your whole body feels sore and uncomfortable. When you ache all over, it's not just one specific place that hurts, but everything feels tired and painful, like your muscles, joints, and maybe even your bones. People usually say this when they've worked out really hard, when they're getting sick with the flu, or when they've done a lot of physical work that their body isn't used to. It describes that feeling when your entire body just feels heavy and sore. Oh my goodness, I have the perfect example from last month. My friends convinced me to go hiking with them, and I thought it would be easy because I walk a lot in the city. But this hiking trail was 5 miles long with lots of hills and rocky paths. I'm not in great shape for that kind of exercise. The next morning, I woke up and could barely move. Every single muscle in my body was sore. I called my friend and said, "I ache all over. I can't believe how much that hike affected me. Even my arms hurt, and I was just walking." She laughed and said that's totally normal after a challenging hike. For example, if you spend a whole day helping someone move to a new apartment, carrying heavy boxes and furniture, you might say that evening, "I ache all over from moving all day. I'm definitely taking a hot bath tonight." You might hear something like this when someone is starting to get the flu. "I think I'm getting sick. I ache all over and I feel really tired. I hope it's not the flu." Let's take this one. After your first day back at the gym after months of not exercising, you might tell your friend, "I ache all over. I forgot how tough that workout class was. I can barely lift my arms." This sentence is really useful when you want to describe feeling sore everywhere, not just in one spot. When was the last time you felt like this? Was it from exercise, being sick, or working hard? Let me know in the comments what made you ache all over. Number 9. What a coincidence. This expression shows surprise when two things happen at the same time that seem related, but are actually just by chance. A coincidence is when something unexpected happens that seems too perfect or strange to be just luck, but it really is just luck. We use this expression when we're genuinely surprised, and maybe a little amazed by how things worked out. It shows that we think it's really interesting or funny that two things are connected in an unexpected way. I have an amazing coincidence story that happened to me just 2 weeks ago. I was at the grocery store and I was looking at different types of pasta, trying to decide what to cook for dinner. I picked up a box of penne pasta and thought, I haven't made my grandmother's pasta sauce in so long. I really miss her cooking. At that exact moment, my phone rang and guess who was calling? My grandmother. She said she was thinking about me and wanted to share her pasta sauce recipe because she thought I might want to cook it soon. I answered the phone and immediately said, "What a coincidence. I'm literally holding pasta at the store right now, and I was just thinking about your sauce recipe." For example, imagine you're thinking about an old friend you haven't talked to in years, and then you get a text message from that exact friend 5 minutes later. You might reply, "What a coincidence. I was just thinking about you." Here's another one. You're wearing your favorite blue shirt, and you meet a new person who's also wearing the exact same blue shirt. You might laugh and say, "What a coincidence. We have the same taste in shirts." People often say this when they run into someone unexpectedly in a place far from home. Like if you're on vacation in another country and you see your neighbor from home at the same tourist attraction, you'd probably say, "What a coincidence. I can't believe we're both here." This expression is perfect for those moments that feel almost too strange to be real. Have you ever experienced a really surprising coincidence? What's the most amazing coincidence that's ever happened to you? Number 10. I'm on a diet. This sentence means you're following a specific plan about what foods you eat, usually because you want to lose weight, get healthier, or feel better. When someone says they're on a diet, they're being more careful about their food choices than usual. People go on diets for lots of different reasons. Some want to lose weight, some want to eat healthier foods, and some need to avoid certain foods because of health problems. This sentence is a simple way to explain why someone might not eat certain foods or why they're making different food choices. My coworker Jessica started a new diet about a month ago because she wanted to feel more energetic and healthy. Last week, we were having a birthday party at work, and someone offered her a big slice of chocolate cake. She smiled and said, "Thanks, but I'm on a diet right now. I'm trying to eat less sugar so I can feel better every day." She wasn't embarrassed about it at all, and everyone understood. Instead of cake, she brought some fresh fruit to share, and it was actually really delicious. For example, if you're at a restaurant with friends and they're ordering dessert, but you're trying to eat healthier, you might say, "I'm on a diet, so I think I'll skip the ice cream tonight. But you guys go ahead and enjoy it." You might hear something like this. Your friend offers you some chips while you're watching a movie together, and you could say, "I'm on a diet right now, so I'm trying to avoid snacking. But thanks for offering." Let's take this one. If someone asks why you're eating a salad instead of pizza at lunch, you might explain, "I'm on a diet. I'm trying to eat more vegetables and less processed food." This sentence is really common, and most people understand that everyone has different health goals. Have you ever been on a diet, or do you know someone who has? What kind of healthy changes do you think are the most important? Let's recap what we learned today. We covered 10 super useful expressions that native English speakers use all the time. We learned "speak of the devil" for when someone shows up right when you're talking about them. We practiced "I'm gonna break the record" for when you want to do your best ever at something. We explored "I'm in a jam" for describing difficult situations. We talked about "nothing ventured, nothing gained" for encouraging people to take risks. We learned that's too obvious for when something is very clear. We practiced asking, "Are you on social media?" to connect with new people. We covered, "I got a bruise" for explaining small injuries. We learned, "I ache all over" for when your whole body feels sore. We used "what a coincidence" for surprising situations. And finally, we practiced "I'm on a diet" for talking about eating plans. Remember, the best way to learn these expressions is to use them in real conversations. Try using one or two of them this week when the right situation comes up. Don't worry about being perfect. Native speakers will understand you, and they'll be impressed that you know these common expressions. If this video helped you learn something new, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I make videos like this every day with 10 more idioms, phrases, and sentences that will help you sound more natural when you speak English. Tomorrow, we'll learn 10 completely new expressions that are just as useful as these ones. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? And which one do you think you'll use first in a real conversation? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you and learning about your English journey. Take care and keep practicing your English. I'll see you tomorrow for another fun lesson with 10 more expressions that will make you sound like a native speaker. Until then, have a wonderful day.